So when God's power comes to work and comes to live in us and then come to work through us, the whole idea is not for us to sit and criticize or scrutinize or maybe this, maybe that. The whole idea is God wants to use us to effect His deliverance, His care, His love, His outreach to a generation that's being told there isn't any such thing available. And I'm here to tell you that grace and that care and that love is why I'm sitting here today. I mean, I honestly think with the lifestyle I lived over 20 years ago, I probably would not have survived until my 35th or 40th birthday at the rate I was going. But God, in His grace, saw a guy who was as messed up as they come, and He said, you know what? I'm going to save that guy. And I would say to you today, God is saying the same thing for each and every person out there. So rather than scrutinize, rather than criticize, why not jump right in there? You got a whole world around you that's struggling with sin and sickness and doubt and worry, and God wants to work His power through you and through me. So let's talk about this a little bit. The passage that I'm going to be looking at here is Luke chapter 5. I've got my Bible here off to the side, and we're going to be looking at Luke chapter 5 and verse 1. And I don't really want to read this whole passage for you because I don't want to take the time here on your computer. I know it's tough when you're downloading these messages. But the gist of this passage is this is the one where Jesus is on the beach and He begins to speak to it. It sounds like He's speaking to a handful of people. And suddenly it says in verse 1, a multitude gathered and pressed into Him. So it looks like He began to speak. Obviously, Jesus had a tremendously magnetic personality. He would begin to speak. People would just start coming from everywhere. And it says here that they pressed into Him. And then He saw a couple of boats sitting off to the side. And so He went and He got in one of the boats. The fishermen, being over on the beach, were cleaning their nets, and they're winding down. They're getting ready to go home for the day and get some sleep before they have to go out in the boats again. And it says that he got in one of the boats. It turned out to be Peter's boat, and he said, "Push out a little bit for me." And then it says he taught the teachers, he taught the people there. And then ultimately, you remember the passage, he told Peter, "Shove this boat out there a ways." In fact, he says, "Launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch." And you remember the story. He let down the nets. He argued with them first. This is not the time to fish. But then he did what he was told. He let down the nets, and it says he had such a great catch. The boat began to sink. He couldn't even get all of the fish back in the boat. So that's the passage we're going to look at. Now, what I'm looking at in this passage is a progression. There's a series of steps, and I've identified 8 steps in this process of God working His power in and through us. It's there. I mean, His resident glory is within you. But now He's got to get it from inside of your heart and inside of your head and your mouth out to the people and out to the circumstances going on around us.